Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another day of Overwatch Apex Season 4. I am Achilles, joined at this by Papa Smithy, who we've been missing quite recently, has been without us an overseas trip, I believe.
Yeah, it's seeing the worlds, but I'm back here now for some Overwatch, Achilles, and what a day to come back. It's a momentous day. We get the debut of Cloud9 Kongdoo. Of course, it is Kongdoo Panthera, the same team that you know and love, maybe even the favorites for this tournament with Lunatic High's struggles in the last round. Cloud9 Kongdoo looking good, and NC Foxes going to be interesting opposition given their match with LW Red went right down to the line.
Yeah, barely won that one, a 3-2 victory for them, but they were also in the same group as Kongdoo Panthera when we started off the season, and they have suffered losses to the hands of this team. 0-3 versus them the last time out. Going to be looking to turn that around here today, but it's going to be an arduous task because, as we will get into it a little bit later, the roster from Cloud9 Kongdoo. I'm going to have to really get used to saying this one. Thank you so much, Jack. So the roster here from Cloud9 Kongdoo has been remaining a bit more stagnant here. We haven't been seeing those swap outs coming through, so we will be having Birdring and Rascal starting things off for us.
Yeah, it was about a month ago. It's a month and a day ago that these two teams faced, and on that day it was Birdring that was left on the bench and Curious that played in that particular match. So this time we're seeing Rascal and Birdring. This time we're seeing them at full power. They were able to beat Combox 3-0. It wasn't quite an overall smashing, but it was certainly a one-sided series. As that logo looking mighty fine, and the NC Foxes, it was a surprise win over Luxury Watch Red. We cannot deny. They came through. They looked like they adjusted to the patch a little bit faster than LW Red had. No questions about Kongdoo. They've always had the biggest hero pools, have the C9 Kongdoo roster. Previously, Kongdoo Panthera roster had in the past. I know it is a mouthful. So coming in heavy favorites, but I'm just excited to see more Overwatch, Kilios.
Yeah, for sure. So am I. And we have, two series here for us today. We haven't gotten into the solo match days with the best of sevens quite yet. That'll be coming up in just a little bit of time here as we get through these quarterfinals.
Winner is guaranteed a spot in one of those best of sevens that we move to next week. And yeah, second match there, we haven't even mentioned it for a second, could be a real close one. Runaway versus GC Busan. Runaway have become our 5-game specialists, needing to reverse sweep in their last couple of times. Meanwhile, GC Busan taking names. Lunatic High 3-0'd insanely just a few days ago. Does mean they've had less time to prepare, though, for their opponents because, again, just qualified into this winners match 3 days ago.
I mean, but you'd still have to say that they come in with quite a bit of momentum behind them. Runaway has been the team, albeit, as we say, the ones that get the reverse sweeps, that go down to the wire to get those victories. They have been looking a little bit sloppy, and GC Busan able to take down Lunatic High in such convincing fashion almost kind of tips them over into being the favorites for that matchup in our second set today.
It's so hard to talk favorites in Overwatch, in Apex especially. There's been so much surprise, so much turmoil. Teams haven't stayed consistently strong outside of Lunatic High, and then Lunatic High, of course, consistently have lost in the second round and then gone on to win the season 2 seasons in a row. So Cloud9 Kongdoo makes their debut, only announced yesterday as a new org here, taking on the NC Foxes, and then Runaway. Hearts and minds of the fans who remember their Season 2 run against GC Busan. We've had a lot of days where we've had these established rosters against these newcomers, and Achilles, it does feel like the newcomers do pick up victories more so than we would have expected preseason.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great season here for NC Foxes and GC Busan alike. The other teams coming up from Challenger, unfortunately, not having as much luck. Rocks Orcas, they pushed their way through Challenger, they made their way here, but ultimately they did collapse in the end of things. But the rest of these squads are instilling hope not only for the other teams that didn't quite make it into the playoffs, but the other teams that really want to qualify into Apex in the next promotion tournament. Of course, we already have the fans here from Kongdoo Panthera repping Cloud9 as well in the audience.
Panthera squad, or the Kongdoo squad we should say, has always been very sizable. They have a very big fan base. They've been great at mobilizing them for both teams. Interesting to see where the org goes here, where the split is between Uncia and Panthera, or I guess Cloud9 Kongdoo moving forward. But the NC Foxes picking up fans as well. There's a smile on Ria's face. He had an excellent series last time out against LW Red. There's a lot to like here. This, on the one hand, people will come in and expect the 3-0 for the favorites, but you would have said the same thing about Lunatic High a few days ago. So excited to see if Cloud9 Kongdoo can really keep it up.
Well, we have some fantastic artwork here for Cloud9 Kongdoo on their debut match. Nice little Greek god-esque style drawing that we had there in that bottom left-hand side. But this is going to be an interesting one here. Kongdoo, they have adapted the memes. They have brought them in. Adopted the memes, I should say. They've brought those in, but they want to be able to avoid them. They want to shut that out. They say no more of this nonsense, no more spam in the chat. We will just maintain our level of performance and push forward into that grand final.
I mean, Cloud9 had to keep cemented in Overwatch League, in Overwatch moving forward. They get so much free advertising from the Twitch chat that capitalize on it seemed like a smart idea. Buying the Panthera squad. Panthera, you know, was right up there. Top 2 team in the world very easily.
Sure.
Finalist last season. So much hype, but now we get to see them play, and that's going to be oh so sweet.
Oh, we have to wait a little bit longer before we see them play. First, we have to go ahead and hear from the teams and see what they have to say about this
전혀
match.
다른 레벨의 NC 폭시즈로 이미 성장한 팀이었기 때문에 굉장히 여러 단계 업그레이드가 됐다.
좋은 플레이 해주면서 NC 폭시즈가 태풍의 또 핵이 되어가고 있습니다.
그렇죠.
커뮤니티 사이트에서 막 16강 강탈, 8강 조에서도 저희 강탈 이렇게 많이 떴었거든요. 자극이 됐었죠. 꼭 올라가서 그렇게 말한 분들한테 욕할 뻔. 또 4강 강탈이라고 말해주시면 결승까지 갈 수 있을 것 같습니다.
완벽하게 빈틈을 허락하지 않으면서 3대0 현재 분위기로만 보면 이번 시즌 콩두 파트라가 우승할 것 같습니다.
네, 벽시나 콩두 판타라의 벽은 굉장히 높았네요.
네.
생각대로였던 것 같아요. 누구나 다 알던 거잖아요. 이번 시즌만큼 좀 평온한 시즌은 없었던 것 같고 지금 너무 행복합니다.
다시 만나게 돼서 되게 좋을 것 같아요. 콩판전 때 3대 0으로 지고 콩훈한테라도 이겨서 올라가자 이 생각으로 진짜 많이 열심히 연습했어요. 콩두 형제 팀 덕분에 올라온 거라고 볼 수도 있죠. 저희 팀한테 영양제 같은 존재.
올라온 게 좀 용하기도 하고 괘씸하기도 하네요. 저희 좀 빅픽처가 안 돼가지고 좀 불만이고 모든 걸 망쳤기 때문에 거의 전 시즌 결승급으로 열심히 하지 않을까 생각합니다. 수를 해서 4강으로 멋지게 했다.
그림을 그리지 마세요 그냥. 저희가 다 망칠 거니까. 콩두 판테라 약점이 마카카 선수라고 생각하거든요. 흑 선수가 한 3배는 루시우는 잘하는 것 같아요. 브리핑 면에서도 그렇고. 저희가 개개인 피지컬은 훨씬 월등하고 팀합은 짧은 기간 동안 다 맞춰왔으니까 저희가 다 떨어뜨려 볼게요.
16강 때 이제 해봤을 때는 굉장히 쉬운 팀 티어 차이가 좀 많이 나는 것 같아요. 제가 봐도 저희 경기 좀 너무 압도적이어서 재미가 없지 않을까 하는 생각이 많이 있습니다. 관전 포인트가 있을까요?
은시야 이길 수 있겠수.
피셔,
아,
콩훈 이겼어.
피셔.
판테라는 이길 수 있겠수? 이번 경기에 저희의 일주일 휴가가 달려있기 때문에 무조건 승리하도록 하겠습니다. 곧 있으면 비행기 시간인데 환불이 안 되거든요. 이해하셨죠?
휴가 좋아하시면은 이번 시즌 내내 쉬게 해드릴게요. 저희가 도라도로 떠납니다.
Overwatch Apex Season 4, energized by Hot 6, quarterfinal. Today's matchup, Cloud9, Kongdoo, NC Foxes.
So honestly, Pops, really have a question for you. What do you think Cloud9 is happier about? Having this roster, essentially best, second best in the world, or having that sick logo?
It's a fair question, Achilles. Who knows what their name will end up being for Overwatch League? I imagine not Cloud9 Kongdoo, probably something involving London, but they do have a sick logo, maybe for the interim, till that's all cemented. They have a sick lineup, like you say. Panthera, top 2 team in the world according to Apex Season 3 finalists, with Lunatic High struggles. You could say top 1 and no one could refute it. So the question is, how will they look against the NC Foxes who, like those other challenger teams coming up, have been reinvigorated in recent weeks? It really has been the story of the 5 challenger teams putting up a lot more of a fight than you would have expected, given how the season started.
Yeah, a few of them falling to the wayside, but NC Foxes and GC Busan here stepping up to the plate. Going to be looking to find victories here today. NC Fox is definitely having the rougher task of it going up against Cloud9. But Busan, later on in our second set, really could surprise us and might be one of the first teams moving into the playoffs. Let's go ahead and take a look at Cloud9 Kongdoo.
많이 나고 있어서
자,
가보자. 루시우 해보죠.
그래도 이번 자이거 쿼터링 먼저 루시우 끊어냅니다.
이게 먼저 오히려 판테라가 치고 들어와서
버드링 선수가 축구방을 끊어주면서
체력.
Bird ring.
피자가 막타만 좀 살때려주면 되는데 오키리어스 나이가 좀
들어옵니다만
킬러스 그대로 전승으로 어디까지 올라가요? 그러게요. 자, 킬러스
Curious.
이전 경기랑 다를 수 있습니다.
자, 원샷으로 만난 상태 둘.
피시아 선수가 확실히 원시의 분노를 기가 막히게 잘 써주고 있기 때문에
Fisher.
자, 라스칼 목표 정확히 포착한 라스칼. 라스칼 올라옵니다.
킬러!
마음을 살아.
포커싱이 제대로 안 됐어요. 마무리가 안 됐습니다.
살아서 라스칼은 킬을 가져갑니다.
Rascal. B. Doshin. Boy. Waka Waka. Cloud9, Kongdoo.
All right, there you go. The roster that you know and love. Unchanged. Going to be starting off again with Rascal and Birdring here on the roster. Curious on the bench, but outside chance that we do see him come back in if they kick things off in dominant fashion.
Should notice they do not have Cloud9 Kongdoo jerseys. We'll be repping the Panthera jerseys. Saw some Panthera headsets there too. Wonder if Jack is in chat wondering if he could cover those up with some C9 logos, but it's both. It is a hybrid, a fusion of Cloud9 and Kongdoo, but it is the Panthera squad that honestly has carries abound, that has hero pools that honestly no other team can match. Even last season, we were seeing Rascal have basically every hero, including some supports, that he could flex over to. Birdring showed the Junkrat last time we came out. We are, of course, on the same patch that we started. The round of 8 on here with the Junkrat changes, which have probably been the most interesting. Still no Roadhog that we would love to see. Depending on who you ask, Roadhog can be powerful, but for now has been unsighted.
Outside chance that we do see him here today, but I think it's probably going to remain an elusive pick here for us in Apex, maybe a little bit further on in the tournament as teams start to figure him out, play with him a little bit more scrims, we'll see him. But let's go ahead and take a look at NC Foxes on the other side of the spectrum.
올라와야 되고요. 왔어요? 야, 요거는 이거
Neko.
서로
접속이 대신 힘을 들고 나온 플래시 럭스.
던졌기 때문에 이거 못 올라와요.
Rhea.
집에
이러면
아프지요.
쳤죠. 그래도
자, 소리방법까지 썼는데요. 자, 초월로
네, 초월 잡고
버팁니다.
Hyuk.
사용했던 거고.
자,
어떻게 이렇게
그러면 키노.
Sashin.
이 두 피스 어떻게 대응해야 될지 그 카드를 계속 꺼내고 있어요.
그렇죠. 이런 식으로 먼저 걸어야죠, NC가.
먼저 끊으면 키노. 자, 서민 선수가 나고 이 키노.
들어갈 수 있는 상황이 됐습니다. 이
시간이
때문에.
그러네요.
Ikino.
폭신이
피스 꺼낸 이유가 있어요.
메카파게 뒤쪽에 한번 던져놓고.
잘했죠.
Seomin-soo. Pumpo. NC Foxes.
All right, there they are, the team that has the big uphill battle here today to try to qualify into the playoffs, kick things off, move into those best of sevens. Cloud9 Kongdoo is going to give them one hell of a time. But NC Foxes, they want revenge from the round of 16 where they were 3-0 by Kongdoo Panthera at the time.
And what you see when you look at trends, though, Achilles, that a lot has changed in the round of 8. With the patch change, we went from a Doomfist meta to almost no Doomfist, I believe, between the 4 quarterfinals or the 4 matches we had on the last 2 match days. There was maybe 5 to 8% game time Doomfist, when previously it was over 40%. He was the second most DPS played after Tracer. So the meta has shifted, and that's why I think we saw some of the surprises where the teams that had largely set up around Doomfist or were trying to contain Doomfist in their game plans kind of had to scramble and really adjust the meta. We've seen a smattering of Junkrat, but I haven't really been convinced by a lot of the Junkrat that we've seen at the competitive level either. Is that a reflection of his hero power level, or is that just teams taking a bit of time to set up? These are the questions we still have to answer. And interestingly, when these teams played a month ago, we started on Oasis, and we start on Oasis again today. So theoretically, the only difference is some shiny new names and logos for the Cloud9 Kongdoo side, and a shiny new patch for everyone to decipher.
Yeah, and is that going to be the difference here that allows NC Foxes to find victory, or will Cloud9 Kongdoo yet again come out on top? Only time will tell. And we'll also see if we're going to see that Junkrat yet again, because you think back to their last match versus Convox here for Cloud9, losing out on Lighthouse first round on Ilios. We're able to take that map, we're able to take the 3-0, but a big part of why they lost that was because they stuck to that Junkrat for so long.
Yeah, I took the same thing as well, Achilles. I think we'll see Junkrat today, but how much remains to be seen.
All right, well, let's go ahead and find out, because only time will tell as we get ready to dive into this best-of-5 series. Again, victor of this matchup will be moving into the playoffs in that first-place seed from their group. Both teams going to be vying for it. Let's see who comes out on top as we dive into our first map of the series. Let's go to Oasis.
I get it.
You know, Achilles, as we wait for here first chant, Kongdoo fighting. We can make a big endorsement today, Achilles. For the first time in 207 days, we have a Cloud9 roster playing in Apex, so finally, it's on topic to talk about C9 and Twitch chat.
God, has it really been that long ago?
It was that long ago. It was, of course, Group C play in Apex Season 2. We're now in Apex Season 4 in the round of 8. But C9 is now fair game, so Twitch chat, take it away.
All right. We also now have, a foreign org back in Apex for the first time in Season 4.
Yes, a foreign European org, Cloud9.
Oh, dear. Well, here we go. Going to be opening things up, of course, Sassen in. Onto that pair, taking to the skies alongside Neko. Will be matched by Rascal and Bedosin on the other side.
No surprise to see Sassen. His 2 heroes he showed last time out were the Pharah and the Genji, and this is definitely a Pharah map here. To begin things off, no picks yet.
Just kind of poking out here onto each other as the point does get unlocked. NC Foxes will be the first ones to get a little bit of percentage built up onto that one for that cap as Rascal tries to fire away, misses a couple shots, but gets those directions onto Pumple, and he's going to be the first one that goes down as Fisher claims the kill. And whether or not that's going to be enough to turn things over into the favor of Cloud9 is yet to be seen, because NC Foxers are still keeping this one in contention, but now losing out on the Yuck is not going to be helping them out whatsoever. Seems like they will be backing off, and Cloud9 will come up with their first cap.
And it's a bit of a worrying trend when you're opting into a pharmacy battle against Rascal, because Rascal was playing Pharah way out of meta in Season 3, in Season 2. He has always been a recognized Pharah player, even when he was main DPS for the roster before he had Birdring at his side. He was known as a Rascal player, as a Pharah player. So for him, this is ultra comfort, and Sassen, much newer to the piece here in Apex, has a lot to live up to.
Has been building up that barrage very rapidly, however. You can see it's going to be the first ultimate available here in the game. But Rascal's not too far behind, nor is Birdring, as we start seeing these start to come through. But Neko getting picked off. So yet again, NC Fox is likely going to have to go ahead and peel back. Dawson's trying to win out this Pharah duel, but without having that Mercy there to back him up, it's just a bit too risky. Has to take this guy's jump over to the other side towards the spawn, but they're even chasing him forward, getting a couple hits in there from Void, but it's not going to be enough damage. Too much bullet spray there to actually take the Pharah out of the sky.
And no ultimates used on either side this entire round, but still 50% already accrued for Cloud9 with the mirror comps as well. Cloud9, Kongdoo is, of course, Kongdoo Panthera, if you're tuning in the VODs and wondering what's happened here. We'll be referring to Cloud9 wherever possible. I'm sure there'll be some slip-ups.
Almost certainly, but already you can see the barrage coming through. Double kill goes over the Rascal. Mercy Res does take one away. Assassin gets brought back into the fray, but yet again they lose out onto Pumple. And that sound barrier from NC Foxes was just too late to try to keep the Winston in the fight, and now the picks are just coming through over and over. Neko and Sasson both going down yet again. Rascal finds another one onto Kino. They get completely dismantled, and Cloud9 are looking for that 100% to 0.
Yeah, they're going to look to try and spawn camp to stop that even being a contest. They'll draw out the Primal Rage from Pumple, who didn't want to die, and then come in with 5% left. It's probably going to be a last-second contest, but one of the biggest delay factors in the Primal Rage has basically been squandered.
Doesn't quite get the leap in onto the point. They're going to have to tag this one out as it's 97%. Pumple zapping away. We'll get the pop out there onto Void, and they get the tag in for the overtime. And now Cloud9 has that sound barrier ready to go. Bedosen as well, trying to stay alive as he does have the res available. Manages just barely to stay in the fight despite having a sliver of HP. Takes to the skies, but will get chased down by Rhea. But it's in the overtime here as Cloud9 tries to close things out. And NC Foxes are the ones losing out on their hero picks. They will get taken down. Rhea and Kino both falling. That's going to be the meter dropping. 100 to 0 here to start things off on Oasis for Cloud9.
Ask for a better performance with their new name sponsor, Cloud9 Kongdoo. Look to step above, and that's kind of the thing. When you're against a team that's playing Ultra Comfort, and no mistake, it is Ultra Comfort for Rascal to be on Pharah. If you take the head-to-head, you're going to come out second best. Sasson wasn't able to impress us like he was on his Genji and Pharah last time out. Maybe an adjustment, maybe some McCree rolled in there, some hit scan, try to answer, because if you take the skies against the best, you're going to be knocked down.
Yeah, so not a good way to kick things off here for the Foxes. We'll see how they're going to change things around.
This is
likely.
likely.
Over onto Gardens.
This is likely. Seeing Sasson on the Genji. Some great Genji play previously. Going to open up. No change on the side of Cloud9 Kongdoo. Rascal once again going to be running the Pharah.
So it's going to be a bit tricky here for Sasson to try to get in on top of Rascal, but at least has something like the deflect that can be used as a nice tool to go ahead and counteract that barrage alongside the defense matrix.
Sasson want to do some who are you impressions and try to take to the skies and answer the Pharah, because they don't have a clean answer to the NC Foxes, and you have 2 picks already.
Yeah, and it's going to be both supports going down, and that means that Pumple and Kino will both fall swiftly thereafter. Sasson is going to kill himself as that first cap will be rolling through for Cloud9 yet again. We'll see if they can get another 100 to 0 to close out Oasis, or if Foxes will be able to step up to the plate.
Gonna crib out that audio you just said there and use that on the resume for Cloud9. These are things, uncharted territory for a Western org, which of course is a Korean team, but a Western org nonetheless, just looking utterly dominant here to open things up. Watching Birdring just sauntering around, no ults, of course, accrued on either side. Waiting the Foxes to make their second commit.
Oh, nice pick comes through. Birdring just chases down Neko, full clip straight into the back, and he just falls. Now is looking for a second pick off here as Yuck is all on his lonesome. Will be trying to stay alive here. Tries to fire back, but that leap in from Fisher does take him down. Pulse bomb comes through, gonna stick to the barrier, so not gonna be finding anything with that, but doesn't even need the ultimate to find the kills. They just go ahead, stomp their way through, and see Foxes yet again completely shut down as they try to push in.
And they have to use nothing Achilles. They can't even draw out ultimates from the side of Cloud9. He's gonna go for a defensive position. Foxes have a couple more attacks, but the next one probably needs to be a flip. Otherwise, the percentage meter is gonna be getting dangerously high. Maybe waiting on Sasson's Dragon Blade, about 10% away.
Rascal's pushing forward, has the barrage, but the defense matrix is there to go ahead and chew up all that damage. He still stays alive here for the moment, but will get cut down to the end, but the res is immediately there, and Bedosen not only gets the Pharah, but also brings back the Winston, and Rascal straight back into the room, trying to stay alive to get the Dragon Blade there from Sasson. He is able to go ahead and take him out, but that's the only pick he's really going to be able to get with it. Still have not been able to flip this point. It's now 76% going upward. Cloud9 to hold on to this as long as possible. NC Foxes are really struggling to get into the point.
The ability of Cloud9 to disengage and re-engage means that no quick flip happens even after the ideal set of circumstances. Dragon Blade onto the rezzing targets should have been just the instant flip, but used as many resources they have. They should eventually pick up the flip here, should the NC Foxes, but it's going to be a 99%er.
Yeah, I mean, Cloud9 just going to force this one into the overtime. That will be the flip there right at the last second as Rascal picks up 2. So maybe a very swift re-entry here for Cloud9.
Yeah, only 4 owning the point, but of course respawn's going to take a little while from the side of Cloud9.
They're already working their way back through 70%, looking for another barrage. It's a nice deny there onto Rhea as he tries to leap up into the sky to get a boop. Finds a shot in onto Hyuk. Can't quite finish him off, but it does chase that Lucio off the point.
They can't disengage for long, Achilles. Can't disengage for long. It's already at 99%.
Pulse Bomb comes through. Birdring gonna get taken down. Actually, Kino with his own Pulse Bomb gets rid of the enemy Tracer. They force out that Transcendent, so Neko stays alive in the fight. Barrage comes through, gets rid of Rhea, but Neko is able to finish off that Pharah in the skies. Now Sound Barriers out from both teams as Cloud9 tries to just go ahead and
No
close this left
value from the Dragon
decisively.
Blade at
And
all.
Saucin gets absolutely nothing, as you say.
Last picks are coming out here for Cloud9, trying to clean up. Saucin's gonna die. There's nothing he can really do.
Yeah.
Zoned away.
Down to 20 HP, and that is just going to be the overtime meter plummeting into 0, and that is going to be another win here for Cloud9 Kongdoo, picking up their first map with this new name.
Seeing them on that second map actually raised my expectation of Cloud9, which honestly was already very high, of course. They are one of the absolute best teams in this tournament. But what we're seeing as the team plays more is the sort of errors they would make in Season 3, where they would show just a lack of cohesion, where you see individuals push out instead of doing the team thing and staying engaged. They're re-engages and disengages on that map to answer Dragon Blades, and multiple ults being used by NC Foxes was super on point. And that's really the sort of thing that these experienced lineups get better and better at doing, and it also separates them from young upstarts like the NC Foxes.
Well, great way to kick off this series if you're a Cloud9 fan out there. NC Foxes need to maintain a level-headed mentality here as they get ready to go into the second map. We'll see what they want to select. In the past, has been, as recently versus LW Red, a Hollywood pick. But given the few maps that Kongdoo Panthera have lost in the season, Hollywood was always their selection after losing control.
And last time they played a month ago was Kings Row was the selection coming through from the Foxes. So those are two common ones that we've seen a lot of so far in this Apex Season 4. I love the Union Jack mouse pad right there, by the way. Excellent stuff. Repping the new reality. They'll be moving over to London, from what we understand. So Fisher's got the advanced spoilers there of what their future looks like.
He's had that mouse pad for a while, so he's just been trying to tease us with it for the longest time.
He's been hiding in plain sight. Nicely done.
Well, it seems like we do have a slight monitor issue, so we'll get this one taken care of. Hopefully don't need any swap outs on that monitor. I should just be able to get this alleviated and move into our second map and see what the selection is going to be from NC Foxes.
I'm just excited to see more Overwatch when we do. Getting a bit of an update here, and of course just clarifying that it is indeed a monitor issue. At least that's one of the faster things to swap out. Swapping out an entire PC. It's a bit of an ordeal, but a monitor is possible if it's necessary. But we're just hoping for some quick, clean Overwatch. Sometimes words are hard. Want to see more from these teams, but right now, I mean, that first map was about as decisive as can be for Cloud9 Kongdoo. We've learned to kind of reserve our expectations after games like Lunatic High versus GC Busan, where you see the history and you're like, okay, I know what this is going to look like, and instantly you have those expectations shattered. But with a bit of extra time, a week now for Cloud9 Kongdoo to kind of see what's happening on the live servers when it comes to the new patch coming through and understanding what's happening with this new tournament meta, things seem to solidify, and Rascal really flourishing. He moved from the Doomfist meta, he was our first Doomfist, and now he's saying, hey, Pharmacy's pretty damn good, and his Pharah was never under question.
Yeah, I mean, it can only get better as well, potentially once we see those Mercy changes hit live, and these guys get their hands on that. So it could be a very interesting change to the dynamic, especially as it looks like now she maintains momentum as Mercy dashes forward.
Yeah, a lot of theory crafting about Mercy, a lot of hesitancy about what it might mean for the opening picks, given that you have Rez as a regular ability, but I think the skill ceiling, once they work out some of the tweaks, is going to be higher, and that makes it exciting to see what the Mercy might represent over time. Not sure if I'm excited about the next patch, but future patches, I think Mercy will have a lot of additional gameplay. As we're watching just some highlights, of course. It was just kind of the killing fields, and there's not really much to dissect apart from, okay, the commitments and the disengages from Cloud9 Kongdoo have continued to improve and, of course, separate them from other teams. But otherwise, it was just a lot of free skies for Rascal to do his dirty work.
Yeah, I mean, Saucin trying to go back over to the Genji just didn't really find much success. Both Dragon Blades really coming up with, I think, 1 kill between 2 of them. So honestly, it wasn't the greatest showing of that Genji. So maybe have to go for something like a hit scan hero, go for the Soldier, go for the McCree to try to take the Pharah out of the sky, because unless Rascal came down to the ground level when he used that barrage, those were really the only times that he was getting taken out.
What we can see, though, given that Genji Pharah is what he showed last time, I imagine largely a projectile player. So I don't think they necessarily have someone that can easily slap on the McCree. If I was to guess, it would be Aquino, who was on Junkrat and Tracer last time. We'll have to wait and see exactly how it all shapes up. Don't think we'll be seeing too much Doomfist today, although that was one of my favorites. It was good to see some people still, in certain circumstances, running the Doomfist, but otherwise largely had gone away. Last time I cast was before the change in patches, and then following on with the changes, does seem Doomfist has died a death. Monitor issue seems to still be persisting. Sorry guys, bit of over-talk till we can get into a hybrid map.
Yeah, definitely something important. I've heard that you really need a monitor in order to play this game, so getting that all squared away for Void is probably of the utmost importance. That alongside something like a mouse is pretty essential.
Keyboard's optional, is it?
Yeah, you know, just get a power glove or something instead. I would actually love to see somebody play Overwatch with a power glove. I mean, we've had people play Overwatch with bananas and whatnot in the past.
You know someone's
Reddit.
played it with a Guitar Hero controller. It has to have happened.
If it hasn't, then I would actually really love to see that. I don't know, what hero would you even play with the Guitar Hero controller, though?
Mercy.
Mercy?
Pre-nerf.
Okay, I gotcha. Red one is dash. You just hold it to glide.
Yeah, you just wait for someone to get in your eye line.
You strum it in order to go between healing and damage
then the
boost.
ult is the power bar, the raise of the guitar.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
tilt the guitar and then
You're
you
bringing
bring
them
it
back to
in.
life. Yes.
That's perfect.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Even has like a similar effect. Everything just starts glowing and everything. Oh, that'd be perfect. Somebody's got to get on this. Somebody who happens to have a Guitar Hero controller and wants to tilt the hell out of their teammates.
I like
in solo queue.
how one of his teammates trying to help him out with the monitor issue.
I mean, yeah, they're just piling
It's a
in
team
there.
effort.
Exactly.
How many Kongdoo, I should say Cloud9 players does it take to fix a monitor? We're finding out. Rascal doing his best to help out.
Depending on if this gets fixed, it's looking like the answer might be 4.
The sweet
They're-
spot.
They're trying to get down to the, trying to get down to business and get this taken care of. So what do you think what do you think the team name is going to be for these guys as they move over to London?
I mean, at some point we're just giving free ideas, right? Like we should probably be contracted if we were going to give inspiration, but I imagine the word London will be in there.
The Big Bens.
I mean, Big Ben's kind of a sore spot now that it's been deactivated for a few years. 4 years, I believe.
Has it been?
Yes, I read about that recently.
Oh, I actually did not know
It
this.
doesn't chime anymore right now.
Wow. Why is that?
I believe just to aging, it's like needed like pretty
They need to
extensive
restore it?
restoration for
Ah.
4 years, which seems like a long time, but what do I know about clock working? So I think maybe keeping away from Big Ben from now is probably the right move.
Okay, bit of a sore spot, that one. So okay, we'll avoid that. Yeah, I'm not sure where else you go with that one. You go for like Boston Bastions if you're the Boston team.
I think that would probably be. I don't know if that'd be allowed. I don't know if you can just have a hero name in your team name. I think you just take inspiration.
I'm just spitballing over here.
I know you're giving free advice. I wouldn't do this. I'd keep it all to yourself.
All
They
right,
know
I'll-
where to contact you.
I'll charge a consultation fee
Exactly.
to name an Overwatch.
Hey, we're freelancers, baby.
Team.
You got to take your options where you can.
Exactly.
My option right now will be to watch map 2, but we don't have a monitor issue on the screen anymore, so that's probably a good sign.
Hopefully. That or maybe the graphic broke as well, and now we have a internal issue on the production side. But
It's spreading from the monitor.
it looks like everybody is back into their seats, and Void looks like he's pretty well set, so I think we should be able to to dive into the second match of the series at long last and see what NC Foxes have selected for themselves. Hollywood, Kings Row, the ones that we've seen. So do they want to throw a curveball, or do they want to go back to comfort? Is going to be the big question.
If the answer imminently, Overtalk is over, Overwatch will resume. And it's
lot
going to be
of
Kings
overs.
Row. Same choice that they chose a month ago. That was a 3-0. It could certainly be a 3-0 again tonight. They will go to Kings Row, the Fountain of Innovation, the famous map where it was always around 50% attacking and defending first. Will we see some Zarya? Remember, Void has only ever played D.Va this season. In fact, both players have shown exactly no Zarya between Rhea and Void. Any sort of differences there will be very interesting to spot.
All right, well, let's see how this one's going to go down. Last time out, both teams managed to push all the way to the end. It was a 3-3, but then a full hold in overtime and a 33% victory for Kongdoo Panthera. Then Kongdoo Panthera to walk away with that victory. They want to make it a bit more concise this time out, like they had here on Oasis. NC Foxes on the other side, however, want to tie up this map score, make it a 1-1, not allow Cloud9 to move to match point already. So now that the pause is taken care of, let's go ahead, get this series underway and dive into map number 2. Let's head to Kings Row.
I get it.
Something a bit on the nose about them choosing Kings Row against Cloud9 Kongdoo.
This is their home field advantage now. Oh, Foxes, you fools!
They know this map intimately. They're the European team.
The NAU Korean team.
Look, there's a lot going on there, a lot to unpack, but that's for smarter men than I to work out.
Ugh. Well, we're still a ways off onto that one. For now, we got him here in Korea, and we are going to be playing on Kings Row. So both teams going to be very familiar with this, despite the home field advantage. NC Fox should know the ins and outs of this map by now.
Geolocation is going to lead to some fun chatter as we wait for the map to open. Looking on the defensive side, Sassen will once again be going with the Genji. You do see point A far, but it's usually on attack, so Rascal and Bedosen could certainly be taking to the skies. It's also a map where we have seen the true phalanx come through, the Zarya, Reinhardt, and Junkrat. Junkrat on attack has some pretty good vantage points where he can spam relevant grenades and actually help with the push. So Birdring will be returning to the Junkrat that, like we said earlier, hasn't necessarily convinced us in Apex just yet.
It's going to be a bit different around this time. He is going to be playing on hybrid rather than control, so has a bit more fluidity to move around the map. Rascal, of course, up into the skies, looking to land these rockets. Already finds one in onto Kino, takes him low, but can't quite finish him off yet. Meantime, Birdring starting to poke around here from the side of the hotel, trying to get a hit in onto that tracer, but can't quite find it with the charge, but follows up onto Sassen. Have to remember, there's 2 charges on that one now. And again, she gets taken down.
And sort of in 2 ways, both DPS being pocketed. Healer Mercy with the Pharah, and then the Diva and Junkrat going around the other side. If you're given any free time as a Junkrat, if you are not taken down instantly, you do a lot of damage. Hasn't quite been taken down, and look, the Mercy even there to top him up.
Yeah, I mean, really good coordination right there coming through from Rascal. And Birdring, as we have come to expect, gets that knock up onto Pumple, knocks him out of the barrier, and immediately the Pharah is there to go ahead and pick up the pieces. That's going to be the cap coming through already here for Cloud9. Now they can get that payload moving.
And Achilles, I think this is when we start to get worried for the NC Foxes, because we could just see 100% playtime Pharah, because NC Foxes have shown no aptitude to actually answer with hit scan. Aquino and Sassen still are not moving over to Soldier or McCree to try to answer the Pharah, so why not stick with the Pharah that Rascal has always been supremely talented on?
Okay, well, that was a nice little flip to the side. Throws down to the barrage there just to finish off Kino, so not quite worth it, I would say, but we'll see if Rascal actually wants to stick with the Pharah through the streets phase or if they're planning on a swap.
I mean, if you have the Mercy, I don't know if the value of the ultimate's that high, as Rascal now answers his opposite number.
Does just go ahead and take down Sassen yet again. Is trying to go toe-to-toe with his own Pharah. Birdring going to get jumped on. Nearly has that Riptire available, but is not in a apt spot to go ahead and use it. Is able to kite back successfully with the help of his team. Manages to stay alive. Gets the pop out and actually finishes off Rhea and Pumple as well. So no tank line available for NC Foxes. The payload is just going to keep on moving at a nice leisurely pace.
Really surreal to see them hard commit on a dive when they moved away from dive comp in terrain that doesn't really benefit the NC Foxes to fight around. Sure, you can commit like that when you're fighting right next to point B being completed, but they were always bound to lose in that scenario after making hero changes, and all they really get is 70% towards the barrage for Sassen.
Yeah, not going to be great, especially since there's 5 ultimates available here for Cloud9. Rip Tower is going to be used, you can hear it.
Might just be for zoning, but certainly for exploration.
Just jumping up, looking for a pick-off, goes into the back. Can he get him? Double! Yes, he does! Finds 2, gets rid of Yuck and Sassen, takes them out. They find a kill in onto Birdring and Rascal, but the one is going to be brought back in through that Mercy res immediately. And Cloud9 will be investing into the fight as that Sound Barrier comes down from Waka Waka. Still have the tank ultimates that can zone them back. Gets a nice boop in, but the sleeper actually comes through. And now Rascal, he is far away from his team, and you can see they're trying to push forward, trying to recover him, but it's not going to happen. Bubble comes up with that kill, but they're at least able to get revenge as they take down Neko.
There's a lot of investment by the Cloud9 side, though, to try to get the completion here. And when Rascal was slept chasing greedily onto the enemy Ana, things have got a lot more even. It's probably going to take another push, and they will only have the barrage for it. So success for the Foxes. They probably didn't even expect to be able to get the hold there, and now things looking a little bit better for them after so far being a Cloud9-dominated night.
Yeah. Do drain down those ultimates here. See if Rascal's going to be able to find any sort of opening for himself. Of course, Rhea with that defense matrix is going to be a major task to take care of, so perhaps Birdring is going to have to focus out with his Pulse Bomb to try to knock that Diva out of the map.
So getting Pulse Bomb and then blowing the Lucio ultimate, I think, is what they need. Both support elements up. That's already the commitment with the Nano Boost.
Okay, well, already one's going to go down. Saucin gets taken out of the sky. Humble going forward, has that Nano Boost, tries to get this happen on a Vidozin, but he makes it around the corner just in time to keep himself alive, and Rascal is yet again right there to help protect his Mercy, takes down the enemy Winston, and they are right back over on top of that payload.
And another example of disengage. They see the boosted monkey and they get the hell out of there until the Nano Boost wears off. As, well, Neko's at least earning his keep. Second sleep onto Rascal.
Yeah, showing some accuracy there, but just probably wishing that his fellow Pharah player in Saucin could have the accuracy that Rascal's been showing off with the Rockets to try to just dismantle this pharmacy comp from the side of Cloud9. But they will get the completion there. It's 3.5 minutes on the clock as they start moving through the Foundry. So a decent time delay for NC Foxes leading up to point B, but now they really have to stop this payload in Strax.
End of the day, Kongdoo Panthera were so sought after because they have so many talented, flexible members. Rascal looking for the barrage.
It does come down. Sleep Dart is there yet again, but he's not going to get knocked off the map. But he, well, never mind. I said that Caster Curse comes through. Saucin was there to pick up the pieces for that one.
So 5v5 action now as we're watching Ana down, but we'll respawn and be able to get involved instantly with the long sight lines.
The kill still coming through here for Cloud9 as they try to keep this moving. Pulse Bomb down in onto Void, but he manages to stay in the mech for the moment. And even has that ultimate available. They'll finish off Kino as they try to round this final corner. You can see Rhea just can't stay that far forward by himself, so he's just having to sacrifice so much space for this payload to move up towards point C.
And able to dive onto Neko as well. Saucin respawns, but now Rascal's the one who's going to answer Afara. First soldier we've seen of the night because of the refusal of Foxes to run it.
Self-destruct thrown up into the air, but actually kind of clips the ceiling, so not going to be getting the distance that they like. But actually, Saucin, he's just going to get taken down by Birdring on the ground. The Tracer manages to get rid of that Pharah that they so desperately needed, and now it is just the killing fields yet again. Kino going down, Neko going down. Near team wipe as Rhea desperately tries to buy time, but that's going to be the completion. Took them just shy of about 1 minute and 20 through the entire Foundry phase to close out King's Row.
You know when your last second defense has gone wrong when the last person to die is a nano-boosted pilot diva, but that's all they could do to buy time. Still a good time bank achieved by Cloud9 Kongdoo. Credit to the Foxes for the first time tonight actually able to stall the momentum of the gallivanting Cloud9 Kongdoo so far tonight. Cloud9 Kongdoo going to be pretty happy with their attack, and now really interested to see where the rock, paper, scissors goes with the attack formation in terms of hero selection for NC Foxes, because are they just going to predict Rascal to once again jump onto the Pharah? Whenever we see them attack hybrid, you expect them to be running the Genji. That's your expectation because Saucin has shown himself to be largely a Genji dominated in terms of his hero pool, and that's why I think Rascal may actually be sticking on to the McCree to answer the Genji.
See what's going to happen as they start moving out of these spawn rooms, but like you say, having that McCree just snipe that Pharah out of the sky, not going to be a bad idea at all. But our NC Fox is going to be running the Pharah here from Saucin. Hasn't been working out so well. For now, he's going to be hovering over that Genji. Could be something that gets swapped through, however, plenty of time left.
But the best thing is, if you think about it, if you're like, okay, what beats Pharah? Hit scan, famously, so Soldier or McCree. Then you think of Genji, and you think that, okay, the flashbang is uniquely powerful compared to the healing field from Soldier. So if you say the effective hero pool for Saucin is Genji and Pharah, then McCree is absolutely the choice you want from Rascal. Now, can still be answered if you get the dive on. If they can find a good point, good angle of attack and actually get into close range, then you can stuff the McCree and actually stop the defense. But McCree is absolutely the right decision here from Rascal, based on what we know about Saucin.
Also need to be on the, really on the spot with those deflections. try to bounce that flashbang back, or maybe even the Deadeye to get a kill. But
Hey!
actually, here we are. It's going to be the Roadhog
Ask
here.
and you
finally.
shall receive, Achilles. I asked
Alright.
for it. We got it.
We finally get to see it, but is it going to be effective
Hasn't
enough?
been revealed yet.
They don't see it. We'll be pushing
First
forward,
hook.
get some hook coming through. It's a lockdown in on the Void, but he goes low. Has to take a breather. Remember, that damage reduction will be coming through every time he uses the E. So 50% less damage, but already the picks are going to be coming through. Rascal goes down there, able to follow up and finish off Neko, so a 2 for 2 in the end. And it's just going to be a lot of back and forth, but NC Foxes are not going to be able to posture up in onto the points. This should allow enough time for Cloud9 to get back over from their respawn.
Yeah, but trading evenly is pretty good when you're on attack, so things going better than expected for the side of NC Foxes.
Oh, for sure.
Able to chase them back.
Yeah.
Expecting there to be a last-second contest, waiting for the Lucio to get the movement speed in. We've seen a lot of people booped away, and Neko patrolling. They now know that Hook is down for 5 seconds.
They're not going to be able to have it. Fisher's going to go ahead and dive forward with the Winston. Still a ways away from that primal rage. It might just get taken down. He goes dangerously low. We'll see that nano
one
boost coming
shot.
through from Bedosa, trying to keep him alive. Neko's going to get slapped. It's woken up right back afterward here, but Fisher with that nano boost has been able to build up for this primal rage. They can drain a lot of time off the clock, and that's exactly what they're looking to do. In the meantime, Deadeye is popped by Rascal, but it seems like he's not been able to find anything.
It was just zoning, getting them to back away from the position. So close to a capture.
Self-destruct tossed out there, not going to be finding the pick, and as you say, so dangerously close to getting this cap coming through, but can they finish it off? Sound barrier becomes available, throws it down, keeps Fisher alive, who's going so dangerously low. Perfectly timed there from Waka Waka, but immediately 3 more kills come through for the side of NC Foxes, who play this fight out right. And they will be able to get that cap, and they have 4 minutes, 45 seconds on the clock to go ahead and try to get through the streets phase. They'll be chasing down the Rascal, but bit of a mistake.
Oh, I really want to reward Rhea, who was doing a great job of zoning away Rascal in particular. After he opened up with the ultimate, the Deadeye, he then was taking pot shots, but he wasn't able to contest the point. You saw Waka Waka desperately choosing between speeding up the McCree and actually being able to get the ultimate onto the rest of the team. And then result was the cap was completed by the Foxes.
Be a bit of exchange coming through, damage reduction there from Neko to help stay alive through that pulse bomb. So Birdring not going to be getting the pick off. And that's going to be a nano boost thrown in. Fisher was looking to jump out to safety, but instead has to engage because of the nano boost thrown in by Bedosin.
I mean, they also saw the Roadhog was there, so it was also an insurance that the Roadhog didn't just insta one-shot with the 8 of his team. The Winston, so yeah, a lot of action going on here without necessarily the biggest meterage.
Rascal yet again throwing down that Deadeye. Will get timed out, not going to be finding a shot. Even Rhea in that pilot form, hovering back to try to keep himself alive. Second time's a charm here for Birdring. Gets that pulse bomb in onto Neko and does finish him off this time out. And it is just going to be multiple kills coming through. NC Fox is pretty much suffering a team wipe as Cloud9 will regain control over this payload.
It's actually very hard to attack with triple tank, I should say, and actually push the point through the streets phase easily, because at the end of the day, they want to stay in formation, but you see Cloud9 on the other side, poking from the side, stopping them from being able to regroup, trying to take away the sight lines when it comes to the hook, and that's actually forced the change here on the Foxes.
Dragonblade comes through with a sound barrier, perfectly timed. Will be answered by that from Waka Waka. Sleep Dart comes through, Sasson hits the ground, and he will fall as they put him into the grave. Bedosin finding that final shot. Self-destruct will go up into the air, but it's not going to be finding anything there for Rhea. The zone control is just not really going to be valuable at all because the rest of the team is shoved all the way back around 2 corners away.
It's so hard to get back to the payload when you have these beefy tanks, but you don't actually have a Reinhardt. They've switched now over to the Tracer. But where the cart is, they're finding it desperately difficult to actually get back onto it and push it.
Now Rhea going to have to swap, just use the ultimate, so not going to be too terrible there. Only loses out on a couple additional percentage. So jumps back into the mech and tries to rejoin. Birdring yet again poking out from the sidelines. Says, have this pulse bomb ready to go. Can he get in onto the supports? Barely misses that stick, so not going to be finding it. Now he's going to be under fire. Discord Orb goes down onto him. So he has to retreat.
Happy to be bait, though, and stop them getting the cart. Now they get back on the cart. It's a minute and a half or so wasted by Cloud9's defense so far, and here's the zoning ultimate.
Well, yet again, the Deadeye coming through. Pulse bomb thrown down by Kino, but not going to be finding the pickoff that he wanted. Instead, it's just going to be his team going down yet again. Sasson and Rhea both falling, first and foremost, and Neko is not in a position to utilize his Transcendence to try to keep the fight going, and will just get chased down for a nice little stagger there from Waka Waka.
It's been about 3 minutes of stagger, it feels like, though, Achilles. The first point cap was decent, not as fast as Cloud9, but comparable. Now they back away. They have both support ultimates available. No doubt it's going to be a Winston in the face of the Foxes with the nano boost building up to the Primal Rage. If it's going to be even a push towards point C, it's going to be in overtime, you'd have to say.
Yeah, and even then, trying to even come close to the time here is going to be quite a risk if they can get the completion. Transcendence will come through. After the Nano Boost gets thrown down here onto Fisher, he's going to pop the Primal Rage. The Foxes will respond with that sound barrier as they try to stay in the fight. Know that they basically have to take this one, try to have success, or their chances are going to be pretty much gone. In the background goes Birdring, finds Neko, looking for another one if he can get in onto Hyuk. Loop back comes through. There's a health pack that he can utilize to stay alive in the fight, so instead Birdring just going to go ahead, throw that Pulse Bomb down onto Pumple. Will get Hyuk in the end with the help of Fishers. They shove them all the way back over towards the spawn, and you have to think that NC Fox's hopes of finishing this map, of getting to point B, have pretty much been drained.
And they spent half of this Streets phase desperately trying to get back to the payload, made adjustments to find it easier to do so. See Cloud9 pushing up, try to stagger, get any exit picks they can. You get one fight. NC Foxes get one fight. They get one Dragon Blade to rule them all, and they don't have a sound barrier to pair it with.
No support ultimates at all. And even if they do have the Dragon Blade, Waka Waka can throw down the sound barrier, make it that much more difficult for him. Kino finds a nice pickoff onto Rascal. Eliminates the possibility of that Deadeye from coming through, but they have to get this payload moving very swiftly. Kino will get traded, but Pumple answers with a bit of revenge. Another Nano Boost thrown down here onto the Winston as he tries to isolate Sauce and take him out before that Dragon Blade can be used to try to turn around this fight.
It's all about delay. They want to allow Rascal to get back with his ultimate, the Deadeye.
Yeah, the sound barrier comes through. Waka Waka keeping himself and Medosin in the fight, at least here for the moment. Pumple with his own Primal Rage gets the smackaways from this payload so they can keep advancing forward. So he's buying quite a bit of distance. They're just a few meters away now.
Team's falling though.
Yeah, he's going to get taken down. Rhea falling thereafter. That's going to be it. Kings Row going over to Cloud9 Kongdoo. They will be moving to match point.
Well, we heard your feedback, OGN Global faithful. You wanted Western teams. We found a Western team for you. Cloud9 Kongdoo come in, rampaging once again over the NC Foxes.
It's the best of both worlds.
I mean, you know, this is what it becomes. This is what we've learned as things evolve towards the Overwatch League. Cloud9 Kongdoo, good attack by them. Their defense, point A. Foxes got creative. I liked the Roadhog. There was the sightlines, was able to harangue them away from the defense of point A, but the Streets phase was owned by Cloud9. Only one of them was in the race on the Streets. Weren't even able to get to the cart for the majority of it. And now they go into the break very comfortably up, and it seems like it might just be a history lesson. Another 3-0 for Cloud9 Kongdoo.
Yeah, very well could be. NC Foxes, in the meantime, really wishing that they were somehow playing against Kongdoo and Sia again. If they had that matchup to make their way into the playoffs, be pretty damn comfortable, but unfortunately not going to be so for them. So we'll have a quick commercial break, and then we'll find out what that third map selection is going to be for these guys as they have their backs against the wall. Last time out, it was Hanamura. Do we revisit that, or do we go somewhere else?
Is Sassen in the lineup this time? Unless, of course, they bring in So Min-soo, who I did like, but they're going to stick with Sassen. Maybe it's somewhere new. Maybe they want to end this particular series with something different, because for now, Cloud9 looks a step above.
That they do. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, 2-0 here. Might just have one more map on the way after the quick break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes to see if C9 can close out this series, or if NC Foxes will finally be able to put one on the board.
에너지가 필요한 순간 핫식스와 함께 핫하게 즐겨라. 올여름 가장 핫한 리그 오버워치 핫식스 에이펙스.
Game, record, and stream without compromise.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Cloud9 Kongdoo, our newest, oldest team here in Apex Season 4, is at match point, ready to take down NC Fox as they get one more shot to fire back and keep themselves alive in this series. Otherwise, Cloud9 will be our first team moving forward into the playoffs.
This underdog European squad is looking they're going to book their ticket to the next round. Achilles, that's where we're at right now. But there's going to be an adjustment. There is going to be a substitution on the side of the Foxes. So Minsu, who I saw a lot of when I cast him a couple of weeks ago, looked great. And then Sarsen was the one who was actually playing post-control in their last series. Sarsen will be subbed out. So Minsu comes back in. Tracer and Soldier 76 have been in his hero pool. The Doomfist as well. So finding some hit scan to deal with another inevitable Pharah sometime in this series going forward is going to be important for the side of the Foxes.
See if that change is going to be enough for them to be a bit more competitive, because it's been pretty easy going here for Cloud9 outside of that point A defense there on Kings Row. The only time they really had a hiccup, and from there just completely took over the rest of the game. So we do have a bit of an extended pause here after the break, 2 minutes on the clock to allow for So Minsu to go ahead and get into the booth and get set up with all of his settings and whatnot. So we'll get a little bit more overtalk.
Yes, got to bring back the overtalk. The podcast can resume. Had a couple of issues today, but no issues with Cloud9's gameplay so far. Interesting to see.
Certainly not.
It's interesting to see the decision when it comes to the map choice now. Moving on to Assault, it was Hanamura, like we mentioned before the break. I speculated that with Sarsen in the lineup, they would go somewhere different now. So Minsu is back, and they went with history with the Kings Row pick. It didn't work out for them. I'd still like to see them go somewhere else, maybe move on to Temple of Anubis, because Looks like Volskaya is pretty well scouted. Certainly we know that Hanamura is well scouted. We haven't seen a lot of Temple of Anubis recently.
Yeah, it's been few and far in between each of those, but we did hear a mention of Dorado in the Trash Talk video.
They got
at the
to
start
get
of
to
the day.
Dorado. Dorado still seems far
So
away.
maybe we can have that coming up if they can find a victory.
It's a big if. That's the thing is, I agree. Dorado,
They want to get there, so I'm hoping that they can, because I want to see what they can piece together for that map.
And it feels like Cloud9 would give them Dorado, because in that scenario, Cloud9 would be choosing Dorado rather than the Foxes being able to choose, because if the Foxes have choice of the next map, they're only going to be playing a custom game, because they would have already been eliminated from this particular series. So the Overtalk can end, the Overwatch can resume. Didn't even mention Horizon, which is an outside possibility.
That's true. Could see that one come through, though. They did, have a victory on this versus LW Red. So they will be going over to Horizon.
Overwatch World Cup strategy. When in doubt, go to Horizon.
I mean, that was I believe, a full hold for them, and then just needed, slight percentage to get their way through the 0.1 to exceed percentage gain from LW Red. So they want to try this one again. It's going to be stiffer opposition.
And it's not going to be with Sarson's Genji that was important on that map. So the heroes change. Well, we see Doomfist, because Doomfist, Reaper, they have all excelled on some of the narrow corridors on Horizon. We talked about the innovation of King's Row. No sign of the Zarya when we went there just a moment ago. Maybe Horizon will have something new to show us.
All right, well, these guys, they want to go back to recent territory, trying to replicate that performance that they had versus LW Red. Let's see if they can pull it off as we dive into what could be the final map of this best of 5. Cloud9 could very well be moving forward into the playoffs after this map if they can find the victory, but NC Foxes want to shut that hope down. Let's go ahead, jump onto Horizon.
I get it.
Here we go. Backs against the walls for NC Foxes. Need to have a dominant performance versus Cloud9 right now here on Horizon if they want to extend this series. Get to Dorado. They talked about wanting to play on. And try to close things out. Otherwise, Cloud9 be one step closer to be the second Western team to ever play in a final in Apex.
Oh, false narratives are my favorite narratives, Kilios. But, at the end of the day, they do represent European organization now. Cloud9 cementing themselves in London for the Overwatch League and buying best available when it came to teams. Lunatic High already spoken for. Don't think anyone would argue that right up there with Lunatic High was Panthera. Rascal seems to be sticking with the Doomfist, so I wondered, again, with this being prime location for the Doomfist, whether we see it be run and looking like, yes, Rascal will be cementing on trying to get an opening pick at the Rocket Punch.
Okay.
We saw Junkrat pre-buff on this patch, so it wouldn't be the biggest surprise to see it again.
Yeah, it seems like they're going to be sticking with this one, so going to be the Junkrat with the Tracer moving forward. Bedosen back over onto that Ana yet again.
It's a very one-sided matchup between the Junkrat and the Doomfist. No margin for error. Either you get squished as Junkrat or you get the kill, because no getting out once you dive in, most likely.
Oh, they're already looking to just collapse
he's
in
done.
from the side. Rascal goes solo, but he manages to stay alive, goes down to 2 HP, and manages to jump his way back out.
The focused healing was just
Absolutely
insane.
Crazy. Oh, dear, and he builds up so much percentage towards that Meteor Strike, already about to be at 50%, but NC Foxes are finding their way in onto the point to try to get this cap rolling. Kino poking in from behind. We'll be getting that first tick at least, so already a good start, but now he's going to get leapt on and Fisher takes him out. Rascal looking for the punch, finds it in on a Hyuk. They'll get rid of Pumple as well. Rhea popped out of the mech. That should be the shutdown on this push. Just shy of 42% as NC Foxes here on the first try.
Double.
So I say that, as Sominsu does find that double kill. He will get taken down as he attempts the exit.
And it does mean something, because it does mean that 2 members are going to take a while to return. As we'll see the replay, Rascal fell to 2 HP, and there was focus healed up, and that's why. The moment they actually got onto the point of Kilios, Nano Boost was already up because of how much focused healing Bedosen was able to do.
absolutely insane to keep him alive through all of that. And already we'll see a swap. Kino moves off of the Junkrat, goes over to that Reaper.
And they know about it now. That's why they had to wait for the speed boost. Rascal's going to dive in because he has the ultimate to get out.
And there's no trap to lock him down this time around. They'll already find a pick in onto Neko, just too quick to take him down before that sound barrier. Now Hyuk falling, and it is just going to be a slaughter. Fisher, triple kill with that, or double kill rather, but the mech gets popped down. He finishes off Rhea with that primal range, and well, that first push was looking rather good for NC Foxes, but the second one just gets shut down immediately.
And it was basically a horror film. We had to raise the rating for how much murder there was in that house. 5 kills instantly. Aquino did manage to farm up 50% towards his ultimate, which as a Reaper is not necessarily a trivial thing to speak about, so we'll see what happens there. Complete DPS media strike, usually used to exit, but in that confined space was never going to be. Pumple does take down Rascal, who got too frisky that time.
I mean, they find that, but also the back cap comes through from some Minson to get a little bit more percentage onto the board. Bird Ring, that attack visor, pops it, drops back in onto the point, tries to get some damage in. But just on the backside there was Neko with that Transcendence, helping mitigating that coming through. Fisher gets the Nano Boost, has to leap over to the back to try to keep himself alive. You can see where the Reaper is suddenly starting to have effect, getting able to just chew through these tanky members of Cloud9 and allows them to get that second tick. Now looking for the completion with just a minute remaining.
Rascal comes back in, gets 2. Here's the Death Blossom, doesn't find anything at all.
Seems like they'll be getting this one. The rest of Kongdoo. Cloud9 here trying to retreat. Will get taken down.
Birdring's on the
actually
point.
halts this one. That's a biotic field to keep himself alive. Leapin comes through. He comes up with a double kill. Gets rid of Kino. Gets rid of Pumple. The pulse bomb. Not going to find him. And what looked like they were going to have the point. NC Foxes, they pushed too far forward. Birdring's there to halt. Finds 2 kills. And they will maintain control.
Every time you watch Cloud9, you're reminded how many clutch players they have on their roster. Rascal and Birdring taking turns to boss around the NC Foxes. They still control the point. The Foxes were already thinking about their point B plan. That plan has had to be halted. They still need to find a way to claim point A.
Yeah, I mean, made it up to 87%, but now starting back at 66. Only 5 seconds remaining. They have one attempt to get this one. Nice little boot back there. Denies the rocket punch on the Young, but yeah, Kino gets taken down by that biotic grenade. Rascal going low, manages to stay alive, gets the heals coming through from Bedosin, who approaches another nano boost here yet again.
And Rascal has nothing to worry about. He has the ultimate to get out, so he can just relentlessly punch in and look for the maximum. Sound barrier used. He's in the back line as Rascal.
Transcendence coming through, gets that uppercut immediately. The sound barrier comes down from Hyuk, but now the meteor strike comes through. Trying to find a pickoff, will be able to get Neko. Kino swapping over to the Doomfist himself, does find a kill in onto Birdring as they desperately try to get this completion here on the map. But Rascal rejoins the fray, gets rid of the Lucio. There is no supports available here for the Foxes as they desperately try to get this completion, but it just does not seem likely unless they can pull off a miracle. But with Pumple falling, it just seems like that is going to be all she wrote. Seismic Slam not quite going to be finding the pick.
Oh, but on the
nice
point.
It's back onto the point. Yeah, Kino comes up with another hit here. Gets the pop out onto Void. Uppercut in to finish off that Baby Diva, but he gets taken down from the skies by Waka Waka. And of course we're in onto overtime, and it's just going to be a constant stream of one member at a time coming back here for Foxes,
like the Foxes are going to do this because the respawns are so delayed from Cloud9. I think they might have done it, Achilles.
Against the run of play, seemed like they were going to get shut down, but yeah, Cloud9 are able to get stopped there. They are able to fall. And now NC Foxes will be approaching point B with just 4 minutes on the clock.
And we were focused on Rascal when he was diving in on his Doomfist. But it was a smart swap by Aquino off screen that was able to get the work done on the point, and so it didn't mean as much. Both healers went down, it didn't matter. Still, remnants of 3.5 minutes. Birdring opens up this time on the Junkrat, but they are susceptible to dive now.
Has to be really careful about this one. Pushes through, gets that satchel charged through. Takes Pumple rather low and forces him to leap out to safety. Meantime, Neko has fallen, so that should be enough to dissuade this push coming through, especially now that Hyuk has gone down. Void coming up with both kills there onto the supports, and so Minsu has to dash his way back to safety as well. So Cloud9 will maintain control. We'll see how much they can drain off the clock, if not just halt NC Foxes from getting a completion.
And the Foxes really need to work on how they use their healers, how they defend their healers. Usually, it's going to be at least the Soldier, but probably some extra help needed because the support's going down as the first 2 picks happened worryingly often in this particular series. Good formation now as they try to find a way onto the point. Sominsu predictably poking around the backside.
Good jump in. That's going to be the Pumple range forced out there by Pumple as he does go low. See the Meteor Strike coming down from Rascal, looking for a pick, and Kino's just sitting here on the wall, but actually doesn't take any damage, but that punch will do plenty of it. He gets taken out, and yet again, it seems like Foxes are going to get halted, only finding that one pick in. Onto Badosin's, just not enough to open up the point.
The Meteor Strike was answered by the sound barrier, but did the rest of the work and killed him afterwards. Carry on. The cake was achieved, and they do get the defense here, and they will have the Riptire available. Sick Riptire on Oasis that we saw earlier in the piece, so we'll see if he gets creative again.
It was the double kill there.
No adjustments from the Foxes. They're going to stick with the same lineup.
Your sidelines to hide behind it once you get down in onto the point itself. Neko might have to use that Transcendence trying to keep everybody alive. We'll go ahead and pop this. As you say, Fisher gets taken out. Riptire coming through, Bird Ring, trying to navigate safely. It goes dangerously low, and he's not going to be able to get anybody with it, so this time not going to be effective. And the first tick comes through here for NC Foxes. Cloud9, yeah, trying to go ahead and stream back in here one after the other, but you can see how much work this Discord Orb is doing yet again. Back behind the May walls, we see that swap come through for Birdring to try to stay in the fight, but the self-destruct will just go ahead and eliminate Rascal to get rid of Fisher, and now Void, all on his lonesome, is trying to buy some time. Birdring uses the wall, has already used the ice block, will get taken out. It seems like NC Foxes might just be able to win this war of attrition and close out the map here on Horizon. There we go, got it. Nice boot back comes through. Smack arounds from the Primal Rage, they get the completion, but with not much time.
It's a little bit worrying to see some of the little indiscretions from the side of Kongdoo Panthera that we saw in the past be also represented here for Cloud9 Kongdoo. So Doomfist diving in too aggressively and his supports being exposed, and that was kind of the problem for NC Foxes for the majority of this series. So picking up the full capture wasn't looking likely a few minutes into the piece. 1 minute and a bit isn't a large time bank whatsoever. We did see 6 points captured in the series on Tuesday, but still, they are able to get the full completion. That'll feel good for the NC Foxes.
That's a step in the right direction for sure. Cloud9 going to be looking to go ahead and stomp that time into the ground. It's looking so successful on point A. It seemed like they really just had that one dead to rights, but Foxes with the turnaround.
And with the adjustment, too. I like it when teams adjust to the scenario. Doomfist coming in from Aquino and reap the benefit for it. Because,
I mean, that was his, what, third swap?
Yeah, I mean, he had to be creative, like you say. It started off way away from there and then moved on to the Reaper and finally into the Doomfist, finding big value out of that pick. I like that Doomfist has gone from being a must to being situationally strong. Rocket Punch is still a very powerful ability, just not meta-defining like it was on the previous patch. Game changes pretty significantly when a pick like that happens. Small hero roster, so when one of the cornerstones goes away, adjustments and ramifications would be pretty big, as we see so much less Doomfist, but I think we very much could see Rascal running it again on attack.
Yeah, 10 seconds remaining, seems like he might be sticking through with this one. Jump up, disrupt onto the high ground, and we already know that Badosin is more than capable of keeping him alive. See how good the focus can be from NC Foxes this time around. Just be trying to spot each other out here. It shouldn't be too surprising on either side of what's being run. There we go, leap onto the high ground. Rocket Punch coming back in. Not going to be finding a pop or the kills onto anybody yet, but does weaken them significantly. But Fisher will go down, and Selminsu there is picking up the pieces, so Rascal falls as well.
We asked for better defensive play. We asked for good defensive play, and that time they actually stood robust. The double dive coming through. Watching Aquino also clean up some kills. Nice to see the introduction of Soldier 76 to the hero pool as they brought in Selminsu for this round. So no Soldier on the first two maps. Really good, robust defense meant that Neko and Hyuk weren't exposed like they have been far too much so far on this evening. Good to see the Foxes getting better. Getting more clean. Now action on to the side of Cloud9.
Trying to just go ahead and zap down. Neko will be able to do so as Rascal falls off screen, but they'll also get the pop out onto Rhea. Getting that Pilot Diva exposed. Could be a nice little start here. Birdring in the meantime was looking for a slight little back cap. Pulled up to halfway towards that first tick, but goes low, has to retreat. Pulse Bomb not going to find the stick either, and now Nano Boost is going to be invested, so they still want to go ahead and take this fight. He'll just go ahead and get rid of the enemy Winston, makes quick work of Hyuk, and that might be able to transition in onto the point capture. Triple kill goes over to Birdring.
That might be the best 3K I've ever seen on a nano-boosted Tracer. Usually you feel like it's a wasted ability. We couldn't see the sightlines. We're not sure if he intercepted the ultimate, but the usage was top tier.
I mean, there's a lot of asterisks to that qualification there, Papa Smithy, but that was absolutely beautiful birdering. This is what he made a name for himself on. We're looking at getting a replay, but it seems like it wasn't quite ready yet, so we'll give OGN another second for you. There we go.
They got too excited, Achilles. How could you not? So frequently we do not see the Tracer Nano Boost. It makes it very difficult to track, but birdering is a god of tracking. Made it look easy, and now they're looking for a snowball capture.
Yeah. Pushes forward, already gets rid of Kino. That's going to be a nano boost in. Onto Pumple as well as the Primal Rage, who gets rid of Bedosin. A nice little start here. Rascal goes down with a Meteor Strike. He's not going to be finding a kill with that, but still gets a lot of damage in with the uppercut. Nearly finishing off Neko, who does get taken down by Fisher in the end. Now self-destruct thrown into the air. Pulse Bomb comes down. Not going to be finding the pick in on a Rascal yet again. Staying in the fight as they try to take this, but they haven't been able to get that first tick rather, coming through. And it seems like Cloud9 might just have to peel back out of this one after losing out on Fisher.
Aquino hasn't been pressured into using his ultimate. They haven't dropped a single tick, like you mentioned. Okay, finally, we do see the tack visor.
Yeah, throws that one out, but takes a fist to the face. Rascal just absolutely stomps him out. And he is just going to follow up here onto Hyuk. Near team wipe coming through, and this could just be the completion here with 5 minutes remaining.
Are we sure that the Rocket Punch changes are in this patch,
I'm not positive. I haven't tested them myself, Papa Smithy, but either way, finds the kills, finds the cap. 5 minutes just about there on the clock. And Horizon just got that much more difficult for NC Foxes to close out.
Making it more difficult to pull off the highlight plays with certain heroes only shows the difference between the average Doomfist and Rascal's Doomfist. Rascal was the first one to play it this season. They played in the first match. They got a lucky lead, but he returns to it. His accuracy is under no question.
I mean, it's both sides. It's the Doomfist from Rascal compared to your average one. It's the Tracer from Birdering compared to anybody. Just absolutely gorgeous stuff.
It was a great interview, translated by T.S. Robin on the Overwatch subreddit with Rascal and Birdering. Competitive Overwatch subreddit, I should specify. Largely talking about Rascal, who said basically, when it comes to hero pool, it's been established, of course, that he has a large hero pool, and basically what he said was the tune of, when it comes to new heroes, I pick them up very fast. So whereas it might take someone else 10 to 30 hours to really refine a new hero, I can watch and in 2 hours be able to put forward an impressive performance. And when he's had highlight performance on so many heroes, it doesn't sound like boasting, it sounds like reality. His Doomfist has been super, super strong. And he'll be opening up with it on defense here as well.
It's going to be a move away from the Tracer, it seems, here for Cloud9 on the defense. Going to be Birdering there on that Soldier with Rascal on the Doomfist yet again. Little scouting shot thrown out with that Sonic Arrow, but Hyuk, of course, going to be swapping back over to the Lucio to try to keep everybody topped up.
Doomfist versus Doomfist feels like, once again, we're rolling back a little bit, but Doomfist always powerful on this map in particular. Looks like the Foxes are really starting to consider things, but Summon's still looking for the back cap as the dive goes in. This is smart, actually.
Yeah, they get rid of Birdering. Rascal does follow up. Finishes off Neko. Now Bedosin in onto the point. Delays a little bit longer, but will get taken down by Minsu in the end. So this is going to be a really nice start already for the Foxes, but they need to get a lot more done. They need to get this cap, or at least several ticks to come through if they want to even remotely come out on top of this one.
Almost low.
Oh, dear. Pumple trying to kite his way back, goes down in the end as Fisher follows up with the kill.
Like the coordination from the Foxes, but like you say, it didn't work out, and we're already down to 15 seconds.
Yeah, they get
Staggers
one more
at this point. Oh, boy.
One more attempt at this one, losing out on Rhea is going to be quite dangerous for them. Pumple's going to have to dive in, does not have that Primal Rage ready to go.
And the sound barrier answers most of what the Foxes can do, so it's going to need to be a miracle. In fact, it's a bit of a C9, Achilles.
Okay, well, they'll just concede it. They'll say, screw it, we just won't even go for it. Can't kill us if we don't go in.
KDAs look better, Achilles.
Exactly. KDA players here, all NC Foxes.
It took 207 days. We got a C9, Achilles. And it wasn't even their fault.
It was inevitable, but there we go.
Well, at the end of the day, they didn't have their formation together. Hard to say if that was just a reality of getting back to the point, but it looked silly, and unfortunately, it's a massive time bank for the side of Cloud9 to make it the 3-0 that it was just a month ago when these two teams faced off, and yeah, this team is very, very strong. I think this team may be the best in the world. Maybe Cloud9, Kongdoo will be coronated the champions of Apex Season 4, and go on to Overwatch League, and that would be exactly what Cloud9 would have invested in.
And you see Cloud9 was playing 4D chess the whole time. Everybody was putting their bids in to try to get Sinatra. 150K salary goes through. But then Cloud9 just gets all of Kongdoo Panthera. They get Bird Ring.
You know, it's a bit more of a nuanced situation than perhaps you're illustrating.
I know. I'm just having
Somewhere
some fun.
Jack is just ripping his hair out, being like, there's so much I want to say.
I'm just having fun with it.
But Kongdoo Panthera, they're a very unique squad. They're excellent at the game. Top 2 team in the world. They also have some very engaging personalities. Getting over the English hump, that's going to be a bit of an issue for them, but their personalities will ring true eventually. And their power, when it comes to Overwatch, it's amazing.
Yeah. I just like to say, I'm not trying to downplay Sinatra. He is a fantastic player, by the way. But, I mean, Kongdoo Panthera, as a solid squad, is going to be a pretty good pickup for anybody
Speaking
here.
of picks.
But already, yeah, we'll find one onto some Minsu, but he knows able to fire back, gets rid of Rascal. But already in onto the point, trying to build up. Just need that 33% again, does Cloud9 to get this completion. But seems like with Fisher going down, Void's going to have to retreat back over onto the high ground to keep himself alive. So will be dissuaded for the moment, but there's still 4 minutes, 20 seconds remaining on that clock.
But just be some eco pushes by Cloud9 and then just coming in with 6 ultimates. I feel like the Meteor Strike's really important to try to dive onto the Junkrat and disengage or look for the actual kill secure onto him, and it's a long way away for Rascal. They want to play pretty far back here to the Foxes, because they do have very good long-range spam, and Neko should not die here as he used the healing himself, and look, 2 picks already.
Yeah, not going to have that biotic grenade. We'll see how Minsu
Not to be
fares here.
outdone.
With the nano boost thrown down, will be answered by Badosin's zone, but Minsu just not going to be having nearly as much success in the meantime. Rascal finds the knockout there onto Rhea. Neko goes down. Hyuk, there's no supports available, and this should just go ahead and transition into the end of Horizon, into the end of this series. As Void waves goodbye, they get the completion, they get the 3-0, and Cloud9 Kongdoo are the first team advancing into the playoffs.
They will be playing in the best-of-7 stage in the semifinals, and we also saw an illustration of why you don't normally throw the Nano Boost onto the Tracer, far away from what we saw from Bird Ring just moments earlier. Smiles abound for Cloud9 Kongdoo. It might say Kongdoo Panthera on their jerseys. The sick new logo does not lie. Cloud9 Kongdoo, just 24 hours old, just coronated yesterday, come in with an emphatic victory. The fans are happy. And honestly, they go into the best-of-7 with a full head of steam.
They really do. These guys looking great. You can see Bishop there walking into the booth alongside the team.
Big coaching staff now.
Yeah, it's got plenty of people to work with here to make sure that these guys stay in tip-top shape, at least for the rest of Apex Season 4. But a victory coming through, another 3-0. NC Foxes going to be having a bit of a flashback moment here from their first match out in Apex Season 4 during the round of 16.
And Kongdoo Panthera, now Cloud9 Kongdoo, go into the semifinals having dropped 2 maps, both of them Control. One to their sister team, Uncia, in the first match of the season, and then one to Flash Lux in surprising fashion. Apart from that, they have not lost. They didn't look like losing really at any point. Foxes had some moments. It'll be very interesting to see who they end up placing, or who they end up facing, I should say, in the lower bracket final when we get to that. Of course, that will be determined next week. Plenty of kind handshakes here, but Cloud9 Kongdoo. Sure, there was significant investment made by Cloud9 to get a hold of this team, and they pay back that faith on the first time of asking. They look amazing.
Yep. Well, NC Foxes not eliminated yet. They have one more chance, one more best-of-5. Trying to get themselves qualified forward into those playoffs. Cloud9 are able to advance, but now we have to figure out what our second team is going to be in the playoffs, Papa Smithy, because coming up we do have Runaway versus GC Busan. And a couple weeks ago, maybe this wouldn't be the most interesting match, but after the reverse sweep for Runaway to make their way into this winner's match, after the 3-0 dominance from GC Busan, this is actually the most hype match we would have here tonight.
It could go all 5 maps. A 3-0 would almost be insane. I couldn't see one happening, even though Busan took down Lunatic High 3-0. Runaway, what positions will they be playing? What hero pools will there be? No one knows. And that's the fun thing, is that we could see Cox just coming out with another breakout DPS performance, or it could all change again. Haksal could play 100% of game time on Genji or Lucio, and you wouldn't batter an eyelid. And then the other team, GC Busan, come in having just dismantled Lunatic High 3 days ago. So much to be hyped about there.